All right. Everything we've done so far has been with one table. All right. So all the stuff that we've done with one table. We're going to now muddy the water just a little bit, all right, by introducing the fact that we can pull stuff from multiple tables. All right. That is, we can join data together. Let's say, for example, let me pop up the table that we were looking at, if I can find it. How are the student and the faculty linked? They're linked via the faculty ID in this table, right? One-to-many relationship. One faculty person can have many students they advise. Each student only has one faculty advisor. All right? Let's say we wanted to run a query that showed students and the names of their faculty advisor. So we want to see the student's first name, the student's last name. Then we wanted to see the faculty advisor's first name, last name, and office. All right, so I want to see student first name, student last name, faculty advisor first name, last name, and office. All right, that's not all in one table, right? In fact, if you could only query on one table at a time, databases would not nearly be as valuable. Remember, what did we talk about way back in the first few classes and then again right after the midterm? We talked about one of the most valuable things that we can do with data to make raw data more meaningful is combine it with other data. All right? Well, one way you can combine it is you can link stuff together. Our whole process of normalization was taking a big chunk of data and splitting it off into the individual entities that it belongs to. Right? We don't want it to look like a spreadsheet where everything's just in one giant block of data. We want to break things down into their own entities. All right? However, we might want to run queries that do bring that stuff back together and combine it. And the fact that SQL allows us to pull stuff from different tables to piece together a query, literally any way that you can imagine doing it, really is a powerful aspect of SQL. So, in this case, we want to pull up from the student table the first name, last name, and we want to pull up the first name, last name, and office of the faculty advisor. The query that we're going to write is going to look something like this. There's actually a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you what I consider the simpler of the two ways. And we will talk about the more complicated of the two ways probably next Tuesday, after we have our Tuesday for project discussions. All right. All right. Here's what that query would look like. Now, what's the first thing you notice about this, even when you look at the select line? I put the table in front of the column name. All right? Back when I was just dealing with one table, all I had to say is select F name, L name from student. All right? And in fact, if you look closer, I didn't put it in front of it. I didn't put the table name in front of every column name. I put it only in front of some of the column names. Why do you suppose I put the table name in front of some column names and not the other column name? For example, I put it in front of the student's first name, the student's last name, the faculty's first name, the faculty last name, but I didn't put it in front of office. Any guesses why I did it that way? Because they're not common. If there's a column that exists in more than one table for this specific SQL statement, it's not in the whole database, but for this specific SQL statement, for the tables involved in the given SQL statement, if the name of a column exists in more than one table, you have to fully qualify the column. In other words, you have to put the table name in front of it. The analogy I gave is like this. All right? Jason, raise your hand. Jason, please raise your hand. Okay. There's only one person in this room named Jason. I say, don't let me down now. Come on. All right? There's only one person in this room named Jason. All right? And therefore, if I say, Jason, please raise your hand, he knows who I'm talking to. Right? Assuming he probably didn't realize there's only one person named Jason. But now that he does, if I say, hey, Jason, he will know to raise his hand. If there are two people in this room called Jason, and I said, hey, Jason, raise your hand, what's going to happen? They're going to look at each other confused. They're not going to know who I'm talking about. Same idea with column names. If there's only one instance of a column name in this SQL statement for the tables, then I don't have to specify the table name. All right? If there is more than one, then I would have to put the table name in front of the column name. Much like if there was two Jasons in this room, I'd just use the first name and last name. You know, Jason such and such, if I wanted this Jason or another Jason. All right? So, in this case, F name and L name are column names in common between these two tables. Again, it doesn't matter if there's other tables in the database that have other column names. We're only interested in the tables that are being used in this SQL statement. But because F name and L name are used in more than one table, we have to fully qualify that, and we have to do that by putting the table name in front of the column name. We actually could have done that here too. Just like even if there's only one Jason in the room, I can call Jason and give the last name, and I'm fine too, right? So even with this statement, I could have put in student.fname, student.lname, all right, and it would have worked. All right, so that's the first thing you notice. Office, again, because office is only in the faculty table, it's not also in the student table, I don't need to give the full name. I don't need to give the table name in front of it. But I could have. I could have said faculty.office, and it would have been just fine. From student and faculty, all right, I now have more than one table, so my from list has more than one table. All right, makes sense, pretty straightforward. Now, the last piece I have to do is I have to join those tables together. I have to do what's called a join. I have to explain to the SQL statement, how do you match up a faculty person with a student person? And you know what? You may look at this and scratch your head and say, well, gee, I match them up by faculty ID. You know, I created the foreign key, let's say, in the database for faculty ID. I still have to put that in the SQL statement, and the answer is, yup, you do.